Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Paul, and today we're taking a look at the Wuben E7 and 18350 right angle EDC light. First, I'd like to say thank you for Wuben to sending this along. They provided this review sample. Of course, I'm going to do my best to make sure that doesn't affect my opinion, and they have not provided any monetary compensation, nor do they have any early access to this review or any input into its outcome. That said, let's go ahead and get cracking with a size comparison on our Wuben E7. So we'll just pop it like this, and we'll start off with our channel staples of a 91mm Swiss Army knife up top and a 58mm classic down below. And that classic comparison should really highlight for you how tiny this guy is. But then let's keep on going with some more flashlight relevant ones. Here we have a AA battery and a AAA battery, and the ever-loved girth comparison. And finally, we have the 18350 that comes included with the light. So you can see that this is really a compact design. There's not that much space in here besides the battery. And then let's jump on into a little bit of a design overview. So we have two emitters here with a tier style optic. The switch up top has a built-in LED indicator, and you can see, get the light to bounce back, that this has a bit of protection from these two wings. What that means is that even if you put this on its top, you can't actually actuate the button because these come in contact first, so it just helps prevent some accidental activations, or if you're using it in that orientation, deactivations. Now this is, I think these are small torques, but this is exposed screw construction, so you have 4 screws here, 2 screws here, and then under this flap we have a USB-C port, which also brings us more screws. So if you're into modding or just curious how things work, this would actually be pretty simple to deconstruct. We have a very nice deep carry clip here that runs pretty much the length of the entire light, and when this is in your pocket, there's basically nothing sticking out. And this is easily removed should you wish to go clipless. And on the tail we have a nice flat base with a magnetic tail. And given the short length of the light, there's not much leverage at play, and it's not that heavy at all, so the magnet works very well. We have a small lanyard hole back here should you wish to use a lanyard. And taking this cap off, not gonna lie, it's a little difficult. You have to really get your fingernail or your finger in against that lanyard hole so you can get some torque. Then we have a nice big negative spring and a lot of threading here with a nice secure O-ring to provide that waterproofness. And our battery just goes straight in. Now in the box for this light, you're also going to get a C2C charging cable. Now I like this. This feels like a very well-made cable, and it is Wuben branded. You have this nice coil effect, like is popular on some headphones or telephone cables, which means that you have actually quite a lot of distance, but it actually packs up into a quite compact form. I'm a big fan of this cable. It is C2C, which isn't going to work out for some people's charging setups, but it works just fine. And you also get a Wuben branded lanyard and a couple of spare O-rings, which is always great to see for the longevity of a flashlight. And of course you get your manual, which, speaking of the manual, let's go ahead and jump into the brightnesses and UI. Feel free to pause on screen if that's easy for you to read, but we have a low mode of 5 lumens that will run for 60 hours, a medium of 150 lumens that will run for 4.5, a high of 400 that will run for 1.3 hours, and a turbo of 1800 lumens that will run for a minute before dropping down to 800 lumens, which will run for a further minute, before then dropping down to 400 lumens for a subsequent 1.2 hours. We have a 1000 lumen strobe and a 200 lumen SOS, and this is 1.5 meter drop resistant with an IP68 water resistance rating. Operation of the flashlight is nice and simple. There's only one button on it. Press and you'll get the light on. Press and hold to change to, so this is low, medium, high, and then double click to go into turbo. And then if you triple click you will go into strobe, and then a single press will change from that to off. There is also an SOS mode should you wish to use it, and a quadruple click will go into lockout mode. So you get the flash acknowledgement, and then if you try and turn it on, nothing will happen. We'll just get a flashing of the button. Another 4 clicks, and you'll come on in low mode. So a nice, straightforward, easy to use UI that works well for the light. Now let's go ahead and jump on into the pros of the Wuben E7. So one of the big positives from Wuben in general, from what I've seen, is that they have this very cyberpunky, futuristic design that is just really appealing. It's not going to be for everyone. It's not going to pair well with everyone's EDC. However, it is attractive in my opinion, and this is a very well-constructed, well-made light. This feels like a tiny tank that if you drop it, it might go through the table, despite weighing only roughly 80 grams. This light, it feels like it'll ride through the end of the world with you, and it has just a lot of attention to detail that makes it feel like a really well thought out design. Starting with that pocket clip, that is a true deep pocket clip. It'll just disappear in your pocket. The magnetic tail, which means that you'll get a lot of use out of it in terms of functionality. You can stick it to, if you're in the IT trade, an information cabinet, or if you were an electrician, you can stick it to the cover of a fuse box. Like a mechanic can stick it into the hood, or in just everyday life, you work into some cables behind the TV, stick it to the radiator. There's a lot of use and functionality, and with a flat base, you can just put it down anywhere. The USB-C charging is definitely a plus, and I haven't seen this in the manual anywhere, but when I got a C2C cable with it, I was curious, and it will actually charge other things. So this is the Wuben G1, and plugging it in, you can see that we actually get no indication from the power on the E7, but we do get charging, and I've tried this with a few different lights, and it charges them all. This isn't advertised. I don't know if this is intentional, and with an 18350 you're not going to have a lot of power, but if it's between killing your flashlight or your phone dying before you get home, maybe that's something that might interest you. It's not a huge perk, but it's just an interesting thing that I noticed in my testing of the light that I actually found quite cool. In terms of beam performance, the fact that this kind of has two side-by-side tier style optics means that you get a very wide beam that also gets a decent amount of distance to it. This has been fantastic for walking down paths and in open spaces. This is really excellent for working in general. Again, you have a good balance. It's not the floodiest light out there, but the two side by side do actually make it very floody, and it's not the throwiest thing out there, but you also don't get a dedicated hotspot like you do with a lot of powerful throwers. So it's a very nice beam overall that I found enjoyable, and there will be a short up here showing you what that beam and the different brightnesses look like in dark conditions. Finally, on the pro side, besides that great functionality and build construction, just the value. This was around £30, obviously on sale, or with coupon codes you can get it for less. But the fact that it comes with a great cable like this, a battery included, and is this well made is very promising. And to be honest, this was a good sign for me, because I always held before I checked this out that Wuben was more of a premium brand with more expensive lights. But seeing that they have something like this on what is the more inexpensive end, again, there's plenty of lights cheaper than this, but I think this warrants and commands its price quite well. And I think that value is definitely a selling point for the Wuben E7. So let's go on into some cons, or just some things that I think could be improved or a little bit confusing about the light. Now, there's not actually that much in this. This is a very solid, well-rounded light. Now, the only complaints that I do have are less universal, shall we say. So this is a very small light, right? This is a very, very small light, and it's kind of chunky. So it's not the easiest of things to manipulate in your hand, because there's not a lot of it to hold on to whilst not blocking the beam with your hand. And this is kind of compounded by this button not being the most standout in the world. Unlike having other lights where you have, say, I have an example here, one second. A different button material. So you can see like this is easy to navigate the button because not only is it huge, but it's also rubber texture versus the aluminium body. This is kind of all samey. The only thing that stands out from a textile point of view really is the charging cap. So just indexing yourself in the power button can be a little tricky at times, and I did try this with some work gloves on, and it was a little harder at first, but you do get used to that. The other stuff, well, last thing that really is a little more confusing to me than anything is that this doesn't come with a headband. Small right angle lights like this are my favorite headlights to use, actually, because they're so small and light that they don't really put any fatigue on your neck hanging from the front of your face all the time. They're really comfortable to use, but they're also very versatile. And an example of that is this is the Olight Perrin Mini 2, which I think is a rather apt size comparison. They're different in many ways, but in terms of right angle lights and that general size, they're right there. And this comes with a headband designed to, leave the clip on and take on and use off while still pivoting. And that's something that I think would be a great addition for the E7. I don't think Wuben has a particularly extensive headlamp range. I think they do make some headlamps, but I think that this would be a great addition if they were to just come up with a similar kind of strap. And then even if you had to purchase it as an extra, that would be not great, but better. I took a quick look and I couldn't see any straps for this. Now, that is a bit of a shame because I think that a lot of the potential for this light is left on the table. When you are narrowing yourself down to a right angle light that doesn't have a head strap, it becomes a little bit harder to justify carrying versus other options that do. And of course you can salvage the strap from another light, improvise your own, but you really shouldn't have to. I think if this had a head strap included, this would be a very, very compelling option. But that said, it is a very compelling option in general, in my opinion. This is a great solid light that I can solidly recommend for anyone that wants a right angle light. But if you're looking to use it as a headlamp, I'd probably point you somewhere else just for the convenience of having something included in the kit. But that's just what I think. Let me know down in the comment section down below what you think of the Wuben E7, or if you have any other Wuben products you'd like me to check out. And whilst you're down there, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does greatly help us grow, and I do appreciate it immensely. If you'd like to support the channel more directly, then please use that affiliate link down in the description below. Or if you would like to support monetarily, then please consider YouTube membership, Patreon subscription, or donating via Coffee. That's it. I've been Paul, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.